So I'm going to drop this hot take on you. I feel like if you have a completely negative reaction about go-go that's steeped in jokes, that's steeped in disrespect, that's steeped in slander, that you're veering towards the edge of anti-blackness, and I can't trust your music opinion very much. Day 25 of the BMM 30 series here on the Groove Line with your host, Chris Stevens. Hopefully you all are doing well out there. It's dark in here if you're watching on YouTube because, well, it's 100 degrees outside. I ain't turning on no lights. I'm trying not to sweat. I have AC. I got the fan on low right now so it doesn't come through my microphone and disturb anything. But yeah, I'm not turning on no lights, especially not in the middle of the day while I'm recording this. It's just too damn hot. But if this is your first time tuning in, On the Groove Line is a music show podcast that looks at music from the past, present, and future in terms of jazz, funk, hip hop, R&B, disco, house, soul, neo soul. We got it all covered for you. And June is Black Music Month, so the BMM 30 means for 30 days. I've done 24 so far. This is day 25. We got 5 days left. Whew. I'm doing an episode every day about an artist, a group, a band, a producer, an album, a genre, a song, a region, a movement. We got it all covered. So be sure to subscribe and tap that notification bell so you're notified of all the new content that drops on this channel. And don't forget to like and comment on these videos because the more likes and comments we get, the more eyes and ears can be on this channel. So, I mean, we've experienced a nice rise in subscriptions and comments, and I thank you all who are subscribing and commenting very, very much. You know, this is a passion project of mine. Hopefully it grows to something, and with your help it can grow. So thank you all who have tuned into the Groove Line and left comments and are subscribers. Hopefully there'll be more to come. We greatly appreciate it. So what are we talking about today? Well, seems like we're in an era where Black people are facing erasure by white supremacy. You know, it's no better time to give you guys a history lesson. And there's a Black indigenous sound that I've greatly enjoyed, and I'm quite sure a few people feel the same way. And I feel like this sound, it never really went national, but to be honest, it feels like it's more for the greater good that somebody Black, a black subculture holds on to something, because white people and others take it all and then try to act like Black people didn't invent it. Of course, I'm talking about go-go, and I'm talking about Washington, D.C., where go-go originated and where it is its strongest. So go-go, the godfather of go-go is universally recognized as Chuck Brown, but there were a lot of bands playing that sort of tempo in the 60s and 70s in DC, but Chuck really took it national with Bustin' Loose in the winter of 1979. And you got groups like Rare Essence, Junkyard Band, Trouble Funk, Backyard Band, EU, Doing the Butt. That was the first go-go song I really remember, was Doing the Butt. Couldn't sing it because I was 7 years old and I would get in the mouth, but I remember hearing it on the radio all the time. So yeah, I mean, go-go has a long history in this country and it doesn't get the credit it deserves. And it's funny because you think about how people have negative reactions about just about anything and hot takes and contrarianism and all of that. So I'm going to drop this hot take on you. I feel like if you have a completely negative reaction about go-go that's steeped in jokes, that's steeped in disrespect, that's steeped in slander, that you're veering towards the edge of anti-blackness, and I can't trust your music opinion very much. Yes, art is subjective. Yes, art is different. Everybody likes a different sound. Everybody likes a different painting. Everybody likes a different dance, but I can't listen to go-go and feel anything but admiration for the people who created go-go, because go-go in its truest form is basically African rhythms. I mean, the congas and the bongos are African, percussion instruments. Everybody's like, well, there's a Latin aspect to it. Yes, but the Latinos got it from Africans and Caribbean folk. So that's why I call go-go Black indigenous music. It is the truest form of music that we have and everything that's spun off from that. So I just think about anytime I listen to go-go, I'm in a good mood, because it's hard to be in a bad mood when you're listening to go-go. There's a song called Ashley's Roach Clip from their 1974 album, Salt of the Earth, Chuck Brown and the Soul Searchers. And there's a point at 3 minutes and 30 seconds where there's this nice little drum break. You know the one. You've heard it a million times. It is one of the most sampled drum breaks in history. I don't think it's Clyde Stubblefield's Funky Drummer by any stretch of the imagination, but it's pretty damn close. So those of you who have bad things to say about go-go, a lot of hip hop's classic beats from the second half of the 1980s are owed to a 10-second sample from a Chuck Brown record from 1974. Just saying. But go-go, to me, the first time I ever heard go-go live was actually when Backyard played DSU's Homecoming in 2001. I mean, I was on campus for the first time. I was, looking forward to the concert because Beanie Siegel was going to be performing. I may do a retrospective of that Beanie Siegel show a little later on down the line. But, hearing Backyard was pretty cool at that time. It was the first time I'd heard a go-go band live. And I was like, and I watched my DC classmates, absolutely beat their feet and do all of that stuff. And I was like, yeah, this was cool. And then once I got older and started getting into the research aspect of music, it's like, yo, go-go's got some heat behind it, man. A lot of heat. When you think about Drop the Bomb by Trouble Funk, of course, The Butt by EU, and a lot of the stuff that Rare Essence, has done over the years. Like, these are, they're heroes in their hometown of Washington, D.C., and they should be, because they created a sound that can't be duplicated. People have tried. For crying out loud. Never forget that a few hip hop records in the space of the late 80s, like, Kid and Play, Ola, Ola, hey, there's a nice little go-go break in there. Salt and Pepper has some go-go breaks. Obviously they did an Owsley Brothers cover of It's Your Thing. They call it Shake Your Thing, but Sugar Bear from EU is on that joint. So, you can't deny go-go's influence. It's foolish to even try. And matter of fact, real quick, you hip hop heads out there, those of you who love Paid in Full by Rakim, Whose House by Run's House by Run DMC, you got Chuck Brown and the Soul Searchers to thank for that. Not only did I hear it in college, but when I moved to work in a place called St. Mary's County, Maryland, advice: never, and I mean ever, go to St. Mary's County, Maryland for any reason, especially if you're Black. Don't do it. But yes, when I went to St. Mary's County, Maryland for a job in 2007, I had a chance to listen to WPGC and WJKS out of the DMV area, and they had go-go shows. Either was it Friday or Saturday night? I can't remember. I want to say actually it was KYS. I think KYS's go-go show was Saturdays and WPGC's was Fridays. I could be wrong. I can't remember. It's been almost 15 years since I got kicked out of St. Mary's County and came back to Delaware. But any DC heads, any go-go heads can correct me on that, because I remember, you used to hear go-go all the time, and listening to the radio in DC, and it just didn't bother me. In fact, it made living there a lot easier. Like, CCB had a song called Fatty that I still enjoy to this day. They also had Classy, and of course UCB had Sexy Lady, which is kind of like, when you hear that, dun, 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 it sounds like the Systems Don't Disturb This Groove, but they just jazzed it up and go-go-fied it completely, and it's amazing. Like, I'm 43 years old, going on 44, and I still go crazy every time I hear Sexy Lady, because I remember it took me back to a time in my life when I was younger and trying to, give me your number, girl, roll with it, good times, man. Go-go is absolutely important to the discussion of Black music and Black music history, because you don't get a lot of sounds that are just unique to an area. Yes, house music is really steeped in Chicago. Make no mistake about it. Like, no one's gonna take credit for house music in New York or Philadelphia or Jersey or Baltimore, even though Baltimore has a sleeping giant with club music. But club music basically is house music. Jersey club is based off of house music. But house music has roots in disco, really, when you think about it. So disco, precedes house music, but house music is absolutely a Chicago thing. You can't tell people from Chicago that, oh, I heard go-go here, and this is better than Chicago. You gonna get joned on and then probably swung on. Don't play with them Chi-Town people, man. Don't you do it. It is not in your best interest. I promise you. I promise. But yeah, back to go-go. I just think that when we talk about how go-go stayed central to one area, stayed close to home, and that it never lost its spirit, even after some folks tried to gentrify it and nationalize it, and it just never worked because you can't just make people listen to something that they don't feel comfortable listening to. And this is not a shot at go-go. This is more of a shot at people who are just used to things being regionalized. Like all New Yorkers who swear that every part of New York hip hop is better than, say, Philly or LA or Atlanta. Shit, Atlanta took y'all over a while ago. But, just listening to, go-go, you can't find anything. I can't find any fault in it. I simply can't. I just listen to, and they have great covers too. Oh my God, some of the best covers. I mean, Backyard has a couple of my favorite covers. No, wait, Backyard has a great cover of Hello by Adele, and Rare Essence did Pieces of Me by Ashley Simpson. Matter of fact, it got so good that a lot of people forgot that Pieces of Me was an Ashley Simpson song because Rare Essence killed it. It was like, yo, wait a minute. Jessica Simpson's sister did this first? Mm-hmm. But Rare Essence rocked that thing, man. Their version of Pieces of Me is just undefeated. So is the Backyard Band version of Hello. And I like it. I like Adele. I like the original version of Hello. I might listen to it when I'm going through a little, situationship problem. But if I want to dance through my situationship problem, I'm turning on Backyard Band every time. And one of Chuck Brown's best songs, post Soul Searchers, is an old calypso tune from Louis Jordan called Run Joe. Like the 1936 version of Run Joe is obviously very for the times-ish, we'll say. But Chuck's version in 1986, like, oh my God, it's one of my favorite run songs. I mean, that's why it's on my running playlist. I might not be Joe, but I run. I mean, the way that 9-minute version of Run Joe just weaves in and out. I mean, it doesn't veer off the path of the original beat. I mean, it's the call and response. Oh, yo, I say, Joey, Joey, Joe, everybody, Joey, Joey, Joe, run, Joe, run, Joe, the policeman at the door, run, Joe, run, Joe, the money won't let me go. Again, go. I think that's what's interesting about a lot of bands and different genres is that sometimes bands take on covers and they make them better than the original version. We'll talk more about somebody else that did that later on this month. And, I love go-go music. That's pretty much what this is about. I mean, I just want to talk a little bit about the history of it because, I mean, it starts with Chuck Brown, really. I mean, Chuck Brown's life story as it was just something of a miracle. A Great Depression kid born in North Carolina, moved to D.C. as a youngin', dead poor, got himself into trouble on the streets quite a few times, went to jail for, a fight that turned into a manslaughter conviction. And he spent 8-9 years in a DC area jail. By the time he got out, only thing he could do was play the guitar. And, he started falling in with other bands, and then he created the Soul Searchers, and they came out in 1972 with We the People. And then, of course, I told you guys about Ashley's Roach Clip, and then Bustin' Loose breaks them nationally in 78, 79. And Chuck said it took him 4 years to write that song. That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, and he said, We Need Money. It took 15 minutes. That's another one. We Need Money from 1984 in one of the middle of the deepest recessions in American history. A guy from DC, struggling with Ronald Reagan's BS is telling everybody, this is what's going on here. This is what's going on with black people everywhere. We need money. It's really that simple. It is really that simple. I mean, you couldn't find a better ambassador for go-go music than Chuck Brown. I'll never forget this is when I first moved to Maryland. Chuck had a song out called Block Party. It was loosely based off of George Benson's version of On Broadway, but Chuck made it a go-go version all his own. And nephew Tommy from the Steve Harvey Morning Show, because Steve Harvey loved Block Party. He would like demand that, it was a part of the Steve Harvey Morning Show song rotation for years. So I won't put that on Steve and say he demanded it, but I'm sure he enjoyed it because he had Chuck on the show as a guest quite a few times. And Steve's nephew, Thomas Miles, of course, known as Nephew Tommy, does a killer Chuck Brown impersonation. So one morning while I'm walking before I get ready to go into my soul-sucking job at the time, I'm listening to the Steve Harvey Morning Show on my Walkman. Yes, I still had a Walkman in 2007, 2008. And Chuck is on the show, and Tommy starts in the Chuck Brown voice, and Chuck is like, "Oh, when I start speaking?" and Tommy and Chuck are talking as Chuck Brown and Chuck Brown. It is one of the greatest radio bits ever. God, I wish I could find it. I mean, it's one of the greatest things ever. But yeah, Chuck Brown was a very popular person, a well-liked person, a well-loved person. Unfortunately, he died of organ failure in 2012. But the 75 years he had on this earth, he made the most of them. And his greatest legacy is go-go. I mean, the man has a park in DC named after him, an amphitheater. I mean, I think there's a museum on the grounds too. I'm not sure. I haven't been yet. I would love to go. But yeah, I mean, Chuck Brown is just as DC as anybody else. In fact, he might be the DC. He might be that representative of the probably other than, well, probably him and Marion Barry. Those are the two. I love go-go. I mean, just so much that I love about that sound, those congas, those bongos, that drum, the guitars, the horns. It's undefeated. It is just one of the best. Matter of fact, I'd argue and say it is the best version of live music you can get if you've ever been to a go-go. Second to none, man. Second to none. Shouts out to DC and go-go. Thank y'all for everything that you've done for the black music scene. You may not get the credit you deserve, but we giving it to you here on the Groove Line. And that's going to do it for day 25 of the BMM 30 series here on the Groove Line. Greatly appreciate y'all for taking this ride with me. Once again, contact information will be in the description below. Don't forget to like and comment on these videos, and be sure to subscribe and tap the notification bell so you're notified of every new video that drops. 25 days down, 5 left. We got some good shows coming up, so y'all be sure to take this ride again. Till the next time we ride, y'all be good or be good at it.